Sustainability has been a key topic of discussion in the Middle East for a few years now, and yet there are industry experts who suggest that this is a topic that has not been fully grasped in terms of the scale of the challenge that lies ahead while tackling climate change. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of MEP Engineered Online, where we speak to the top contractors, consultants, suppliers, and stakeholders involved in the MEP and HVAC sectors within the construction industry. I'm Anup Oommen, the editor of MEP Middle East, and joining me today is Mario Saab, who has taken over as the head of sustainability at multidisciplinary engineering consultancy, Cundall. To start off the show, welcome, Mario, and I hope that all is well with you.
Thank you, Anup. Thank you for the introduction. It's a real pleasure to be with you on this show.
Thank you, Mario. It's good to have you here as well. Mario, let's start off with a broader brushstroke before we paint the details. You've suggested a number of businesses and public bodies have not yet fully grasped the finer points in terms of sustainability challenges that lie ahead of us. Could you briefly share your thoughts on what cracks or gaping holes in the MEP industry need to be addressed in this regard in 2021?
Well, Anup, it's actually not just a matter of MEP industry. It's the built environment as a whole. So climate change might actually very well be one of the biggest challenges that humanity has ever faced in its history. So the business as usual approach, or even the current climatic commitments of the various countries, they are still, to be honest, far from helping us to avoid a climate disaster. So we really need to understand there should be a major shift from the traditional market view of sustainability as just being this mere addition to any project, or as you say, a cherry on the top of any project, and just being targeted for marketing purposes or regulatory purposes. Till now, imagine we keep on receiving RFPs where sustainability is listed as some kind of an optional element, and this is simply not acceptable anymore. Sustainable design really should be treated in the same level of importance as, let's say, the structural elements in any building. So just like you can't have a building without its columns, you can't have anymore a project that is not sustainable. It's really that simple, that clear, and that crucial. And the energy sector, actually, which traditionally has driven the whole regional economy, is now evolving very rapidly. So as an example, for the last 6 years alone here in the UAE, the annual energy consumption has increased by around 25%, which is a big number. So the first people really to tackle this kind of challenge are the MEP consultants. So these MEP consultants are really at the forefront of the sustainability battle. So they are the ones who are designing, who are constructing, who are metering the energy and water systems of any project. And therefore, they have the biggest influence in terms of the project sustainability. So they would be the one also benchmarking the energy use intensity and the carbon emissions of these buildings and giving us factual data of where do we actually stand now realistically in terms of the net zero carbon scale and net zero carbon aspirations.
Speaking about the role of consultants, could you also share examples and or technical specifics on how methods such as building performance simulation, among others, are essential in ideating and implementing energy efficient and carbon neutral designs?
That's a very interesting, actually, question for this. Really, at a time where the whole construction industry is shifting towards sustainable design, with really a focus on more complex and organic architecture, even more advanced HVAC systems and the MES systems, especially here in the region, I really believe every project owner or developer should really consider the use of performance simulation studies. Now, just to give a small introduction first, or a brief description. So these studies are computer-based simulation studies of the performance of any building, which is done through creating what we call a virtual replica of the building, including the relevant climatic conditions, the relevant HVAC systems, the architectural, electromechanical systems, everything that really affects the performance of any building. And these studies, they allow us actually to know the exact performance of the project and all of the details of this project before even laying a single concrete block on the ground. And of course, it's very critical to note here that all the modeling techniques, they are, of course, weakened by poor data. So the more the data is accurate and the more the energy modeler is strong in terms of his performance, the more you would have an accurate prediction at the end of the day. So these studies really, they give us the type of information that impacts critical decisions in each of the design phases. And it's all about really giving the useful information at the right time and in the right manner. And I mean, I ask every developer here, how important really is it for you if you can avoid or at least reduce to a big extent the need for value engineering, let's say, with all of the negative repercussions of value engineering when it comes to the additional cost, additional budget, the time lost, the double work. And what if you can actually save at least 10 or 20% of your energy consumption annually through implementing these kinds of high efficiency measures? And I've personally seen this in many projects which I have consulted on. So the importance of simulation studies are that it allows you to really integrate key design recommendations and energy efficiency strategies that drive down massively the energy demand. And of course, we're talking about an array of studies here. It's energy modeling, we talk about CFD studies, about solar analysis, about daylight analysis, etc. And you see at this point, outdated methods such as spreadsheets or simplified mathematical approaches, they're simply not effective anymore, especially with the scale and the complexity of projects that we have, because you need a simulation tool that looks at the building in a holistic sense. And this is where the real strength of performance simulation lies. And without simulation studies, we can never reach a building or a project that has a net zero energy, that is off the grid, and that can actually create a positive environmental impact to its surroundings.
That's a very strong answer, Mario. Thank you for being candid with your answer. Over the past 14 years, you've contributed tangibly towards sustainability on a number of high-profile projects. Could you share some recent examples on a lighter scale of how the GCC is attempting to prioritize sustainability on projects such as, for example, the Expo 2020 UAE Pavilion or the FIFA World Cup stadiums in Qatar?
Definitely, indeed. Governments actually in the GCC, they are showing more and more their vow, let's say, to a greener future and setting ambitious targets accordingly. So such targets or initiatives include, for example, the Abu Dhabi Vision 2030, the Dubai Vision 2040, the UAE Energy Strategy 2050. You have the Qatar National Vision, the recently also announced Saudi Green Initiative. So all of these initiatives and visions, they serve like a guiding principle for most of the upcoming projects. And as part of the efforts needed to reach these aspirations or goals, you need to have local regulations in place. And we've seen these local regulations that standardize to a certain extent and promote sustainability in construction projects in their regions. So I'm talking about, let's say, Istidama in Abu Dhabi, GSAS in Qatar, Safat here in Dubai, and also the recently introduced Mustadam system in Saudi Arabia. So yes, sustainability is being actually prioritized in this region, and specifically on the region's reference project. So you have given a couple of examples. I can elaborate more on these. So in Dubai, in UAE specifically, of course, the highly anticipated Expo 2020 is one of these main sustainable developments. And the country has really set quantifiable targets to make this Expo 2020 the most energy efficient expo in history. And personally, I had the privilege of consulting on the UAE pavilion, which is the pavilion of the hosting country. And being the pavilion of the hosting country, of course, UAE has set much higher, let's say, sustainability aspirations for it. So they were keen on making it really a real landmark in sustainability. This led to adopting not just one, but actually 4 green aspirations or green rating systems. So accordingly, it targeted LEED Platinum and Masdar sustainability KPIs, and also Expo 2020 regulations. And the 4th one is the Dubai Municipality Green Building Requirements. So you can imagine the extent of sustainability challenge here. This is the first example. The second example you mentioned, of course, is the FIFA 2022, the World Cup in Qatar. So this is also another project in the region which is really pushing the boundaries of sustainability. And likewise, the developers, which is the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy in Qatar, they set also a goal to deliver the first carbon neutral FIFA World Cup in the tournament history. Again, I had the privilege also of consulting on the sustainability aspect of two of the biggest stadiums. First of them being the Khalifa Stadium, and the second one is Al Bayt Stadium. And for example, I can tell you for a fact, since we mentioned performance simulation studies before, these studies, notably energy modeling and CFD studies, they were the main driving force behind the rest of the design services in this case. And they were implemented through an integrative design approach that really led to a major reduction in the energy demand.
Taking a step back to something that you mentioned in the previous answer as well, you said that there are certain practices that it's time that we let go of, and there are other practices that we need to incorporate. Mario, you've been outspoken also about the need for more, and if I can say that, better training and workshops. Is there a skills gap that you feel that needs to be addressed within the MEP industry? Does the industry maybe need more sustainability specific roles to push the envelope in this regard?
Well, I mean, definitely, when we talk that there's a growing demand for green project deliveries or low carbon or zero carbon initiatives, especially in the Middle East market, I mean, over the past couple of years, we have definitely seen kind of a shrinkage, let's say, in the budgets that were put for these kinds of training programs or apprenticeships. For a lot of local and international companies. And of course, we all understand this given the facts. I really hope to see a speedy recovery in this area, since really the demand for sustainable solutions can only be met through skilled workforce. And the sustainability domain by itself is a constantly progressive and evolving domain. So, of course, the basics of sustainability have been there since forever, but every day we witness new technologies, new approaches, new rating systems, to push these basics further and further. And the challenge here is actually to keep up with these updates and acquire the skills. And this challenge is really a very high challenge. Therefore, there's definitely a constant need for high quality workshops, high quality trainings in this field, in order to involve also more and more people in the process of improving energy efficiency within their companies, within their communities. And these educational events, they need to be as tailor-made as possible also to the region, since the size and the scale of the complexity of the projects here in the region, they are unparalleled worldwide. And as Cundall, we're already collaborating with many local green building councils in the region to deliver such educational events. So, I mean, definitely the journey is long, and there's no, like you say, there's no one-time vaccine for climate change. So we need to continuously invest in our teams. We need to build the sustainable capabilities, since very honestly, we don't have the luxury of time, and we don't have the luxury of learning from our mistakes and correct it in a second climate change, because simply there's not going to be any second climate change.
Thank you, Mario, for joining us on the show. For those of you watching, you know the drill. Feel free to share, comment, like, and subscribe for more such videos from experts in the industry. That's all for now, and until next time, goodbye.